Welcome all you racing fans, it's Dave here from Dirty Camel Racing Productions. And today we are going to talk about some of the cars that I have here and some of the cars that are on the way and things that are being worked on. Alright, let's start off with this car here. This car here is the Revo 3.3, okay, made by Traxxas. And of course it's bodyless right now. But I'm going to go over some of the upgrades that have been done to this car. For example, we'll start off with the tires. The tires and the rims have been changed out. And on this car in particular, I have the Proline bow ties rather than the factory tires. And the rims are solid plastic, and they are a half-inch offset, which gives me a wider stance than if I went with no offset. So I kind of like having the offset, the half-inch offset rims. They're inexpensive too. I also have a tendency of using the hole shots as well. Alright, so more upgrades. Obviously the suspension had been dropped because this is a monster truck, so the suspension has been dropped down. So it's not as top heavy, you got a better center of gravity. The bumper in the front right here is an RPM, so it's swapped over to RPM. RPM is a great company as far as your plastic goes, because a lot stronger than the Traxxas factory or pretty much any other factory. Even my suspension arms here have been upgraded to RPM. For those of you who aren't tracking, this is the suspension arms. You got your upper and your lower suspension arms. These are RPM. The biggest thing that people have a tendency of doing is hitting a wall or a Hesco basket or even a nice size dirt mound, and you can snap these suspension arms primarily up here where they connect. But I have seen them actually breaking here too. RPM is an awesome company to swap them out with. They're not too expensive. All this has become RPM. Now when you swap out with the RPM, they'll be advised when you order your bearings, they won't be your standard Traxxas bearings. They'll be oversized bearings specifically made for RPM. Alright, but that's a sacrifice you make. Now we get into the push rods here. The push rods have been upgraded from the standard silver steel. So they're still Traxxas, but they're the aluminum ones. And they are a lot more durable actually than the steel ones. The steel ones tend to bend too much. Now also to help with the suspension and along with these rocker or with these push rods, you end up with the rocker arms being changed out from the standard 120 down to the 90. Okay, so at the 90, the rocker arms are 90 on here, and let's see that. That's a good rebound on the. And then I'm going to show you someone else's car has got the standard Traxxas suspension on it as far as the springs go. The springs have been upgraded to piggyback springs. Some people don't like them, some people do. A friend of mine had an e-Revo and he busted his shocks in one night. Busted here, and one had actually busted the cap off. These are aluminum, but your mounting brackets for them are plastic. Some people tell you these piggybacks, even though they store the extra oil up in here, up in this extra reservoir, that they're actually pointless. They don't do anything different. But these specifically I like, and like I said, it's got a good rebound to them. All right, sway bars. The sway bars, I have front and rear sway bars added on. They're kits you can purchase. The sway bars for the front connect right to the rocker arms on the top. But the reverse, or correction, the rear sway bar mounts back here, and it comes up underneath your rocker arms in the back, which are also 90mm. And you have to add a spacer underneath your rocker arm, which I did. But you have to drill holes. They give you a template. You have to drill a hole in the bottom of your rocker arm where the rear sway bar screws into here. When I swapped out these particular, I put new rocker arms on the back already, and I didn't have my drill to make the hole, so I haven't put the rear sway bar back on yet. You can see I go wingless. I don't like the wing because on a short course track you don't get the speed you need to actually have the wing be effective. So if you run bodyless, I recommend keeping your wing on if you're tuning and you're running bodyless, because if not, you could bend your manifold here. I went through 2 of them in one day because the car rolled over and I hit right in this spot and bent both the hardened and the factory manifold. So keep your wing on if you're going bodyless while tuning. All right, but other than that, with your body on it, it's not effective. Okay. Onward here. Another upgrade here is we have both servos, a steering servo, which was converted from the 2 servos over to the 1 servo kit. So we're missing a servo here, obviously. The reason I like doing this is because then you don't have the issue of your 2 servos fighting for center. Some of y'all might know what I'm talking about. You hear a servo constantly working because it's fighting against the other one to get center. When you convert to 1 servo, you only have 1 center. I upgraded to the high-tech 985. Got good torque. I converted the steering and my throttle servos over. They're about 70 bucks a piece. It's worth it. It's a conversion kit. It's nice. You can see the difference down here as far as your arm goes. Servo. It's got blue aluminum servo arm. All right. So the servos have been upgraded. Transmission. I actually converted the transmission. Or the transmission's been converted. This one I had to rebuild. The last one was converted, and I went off of what he had done and took out reverse. Added the plate to the front, took out all the gears I needed inside, took the arm off, which connects, the spring connects to the arm here. So the reverse is gone. It's completely taken out. I don't need it on the track, especially. I plan on going one direction. That's straight. All right, so if you have to have a good toolkit. I'm gonna tell you why, because you can strip screws out really easy, and a strip screw can put you out of the race. This throttle arm here, servo arm, is not the proper one for this servo. I bought the kit, like $10 for the kit, for the high-tech conversion for Traxxas, and the screw is stripped out. Long story short, I had to cut the old arm off to get the screw out to save my servo. So now I'm out for 2 weeks, because it takes 2 weeks to get supplies here in Iraq. So if you're in Iraq, stock up on everything. But good toolkit to keep your screws from stripping out. Piggyback shocks on the back as well. I took out the standard Traxxas 3.3, which is what this is right here. It's the Traxxas 3.3 engine. All right, this is a buddy of mine. I'm working on his stuff for him. And I put in the OST 0.21 TM, the Max, some OS Max, and I enjoy it. I had to break it in. OS is a pretty good company to go through. They will work with you, okay? So OS, the 0.21 motor. Added an extra filter cover, help keep some of the debris off, because you do have oil on your outer filter. So you want to maybe protect it from the larger debris that gets kicked up into your truck or your car. You see my exhaust has been upgraded. I went with the hardened manifold into a THS Racing muffler. It's about 55 bucks total. I like it. It's pretty good. It's a good upgrade for it. Once again, rear suspension is also upgraded to RPM along with the aluminum push rods. I did order a fuel filter. So I'm going to add a fuel filter to my fuel line, and then I'm going to add another fuel line onto it. Give me twice the length in a fuel line, and the reason being is it stores at least another minute's worth of fuel, which is important if you're going to get into your racing. You need it helps, and the fuel filter itself actually stores fuel as well. So I'm going to add a fuel filter and more line, and it helps if you keep it up in the front, push your fuel line up towards the front more without crimping right here, you'll end up correction, actually here you won't crimp, but don't mind this. I have my fuel run back into itself while I'm not running it, and I clean the engine out. But anyway, if you keep it up in front, it'll stay cooler. Let's see what else. And I think that's pretty much it. Yep, that's pretty much it for the Traxxas Revo 3.3. It's been dropped, converted, and it's a pretty good car. I enjoy it. This is a factory-made Traxxas Revo. It has been dropped, and the tires have been changed, but I do believe that is about it as far as the conversions go. You can see he's got the factory-style exhaust, the manifold, and the muffler. There's the muffler for his, okay, and then the arm comes down. But he's got the standard green shocks on the back, green springs on the back, and red springs in the front. Also on mine, another modification is I took this whole entire box off, and now it's just a smaller box for the receiver itself, and the receiver was also changed out too. But this is how it looks factory. Servo here and servo here for the dual servos for the steering. Standard servo with box for 2075 for the throttle. He's got the 120 progressive. Nope, those got 90s in the front, so 90s have been added. But I wanted to show you all the suspension. Let's see if I get a better shot of this here. You can see the suspension on this. When it drops, it comes back up a little bit. Okay, there's your spring right there. Then it lifts a little bit more and it stays in place. So when it drops, it drops. It stays pretty flat. Same thing with the front. There's not much. And this is actually pretty good because I keep it clean. It's got the sway bars, which make a huge difference in your suspension. Otherwise, it would drop and stay dropped. I was not satisfied with the standard. I know you can beef your springs up. They got gold, they got tan, they got brown, they got white, they got silver, blue, the green, the red, yellow. They got all types of different suspensions or springs for your shocks, but I like the piggybacks myself. I already showed you his 3.3 engine, which is off right now. I had to clean it, repair a couple parts, and we're replacing this motor mount here and a couple other things we're going to add to his car. Get it back up in the game. But this is Dave here once again from Dirty Camel Racing Productions, along with check out redlegraceway.com, and you'll see our track and see us out there.